Welcome to Susan's Garden. One of the flowers that really struck me when I moved to California back in the 80s was the Gazania. I know it's kind of a weird word. It's part of the daisy family, and it's a ground cover. So you'll see it many times in drought-resistant areas, but just in areas where you want to add a burst of color because they are unusual. They come in pinks and bright yellows, and even the whites have strong burgundy colors that will just catch your eye. The dies that come in the seed packet have the large flower, and then the stamens consist of several sizes and one little rolled one and the leaves. I've cut out the pieces, adding that you will have to cut the larger daisy twice to create the flower that I've done here. We'll place it on our molding pad, and using the large loop end of the loop tool, we're going to go ahead and start shaping the petals. Again, working from the outside towards the center. Now I'm going to do that on both of them. And then what I'm going to do is move it over here to my leaf pad. And what I want is to add some character lines. You know, those lines that we get as we age, but really add a lot of definition to our beauty. So we're going to go ahead and with the leaf tool on the leaf pad, go ahead and just stroke a couple of lines just to add that character to your flower. Back on the molding pad, we're going to use the medium ball stylus and go ahead and do what I call stirring. You're going to just roll it around, and you'll watch that the flower just pops up and bursts. Now at this point, I would probably put it on my non-stick pad and add a little bit of, so I'm going to set it in place for you onto the project so you can see one finished. If I place it right on the center there, and then the next one that I did just like the first one, I'm going to add a little bit of glue again to that bottom. And this time, we put this right on the front there so you can see, is place the second layer on top, but I've offset the petals. And I'm just going to press down lightly. So there you have your base of your flower. But what is really striking is the color combinations you get with your stamens. Now these little wagon wheel pieces, we're going to cut them apart using our scissors, just to make them a little more frilly. And so you just cut them in half, going all the way around. And you're going to do that on both the green and the yellow, as I've done here. And then what I've taken is use the small ball stylus, place it on the pad, and just press down and cup them so they stand up and get a little bit of shape. Now the assembly to this is pretty quick. It's placing them one in the center, and you can use your leaf tool to kind of secure it a bit. Add another one, and this time I'm going to use my tweezers to place that on top and use the point to secure it. And then we're going to go with the yellow. And one more yellow, because there's two of each color. That goes right in the center. Now, that tight little piece that you see there, while I've rolled it up, you actually have take it and you want to cut those filaments in half also, just like you did the larger part of the stamen. It just gives for a nicer, frillier part. So once I cut it, I'm going to take my tweezers, and holding onto that tab, I'm going to roll it to the opposite end, and I'm going to secure it with a little bit of glue, roll it up, and then fan it out. And I have one right here that's already set. We'll fan it out a little bit more. And then if you lightly put it in the glue, and you can see how light it is. And then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to use a little bit darker color. It's almost like a charcoal pollen from Woodland Scenics, and I've added that color, you know, on the end of it. Now I'm going to take and hold my stamen with my tweezer, dip it in the glue, and add it to the center. And Isn't that a striking flower? I mean, you can see where this would be breathtaking on any hillside as a ground cover. Now the leaves are just a single stemmed leaf, and you do that by placing it on your leaf pad and using your leaf tool. You want to stroke down the center. Now I have bent up a little bit and I've highlighted it with some pan pastels, but then I've gone ahead and pinched it and then bend the tip a little bit. Go ahead and stroke it through the glue there, and you can tuck it under your project and do the same with the second leaf. You can add a third or a fourth leaf. I like to, however much your project requires, but that's a nice burst of color to add to any project and make for a beautiful presentation.